Hey everybody, it's been a while since I've been on here, so I just wanted to reach out, say hi, and explain some things that have come to my understanding in my own journey as I've been on this path. But I wanted to talk today about the Law of One, which is becoming more and more common of a term, or Christ consciousness, or unity consciousness, which it's becoming more and more common in the awake world, if you will, because more and more people are starting to gain this understanding and start to live this. But I wanted to break this down and explain it in a simple way so that people can understand it. And even though it is pretty self-explanatory in the title, Law of One, but what it means is when you start to come to the understanding that we are all of the same consciousness, just experiencing itself through these different perspectives or fractals or avatars, if you will, and respecting and understanding all of our other selves and their experience. Christ consciousness is another common term used here, and unity consciousness is also a common term used for this understanding. One of the huge parts of the understanding of the Law of One is also understanding how do I put this? That we are all each other, and so having the love and the compassion and the forgiveness to accept everybody's individual experience, and realizing that there is no I'm right, you're wrong, or vice versa, or anything, and realizing that everything is perfect as it is. Because when we start to engage in I'm right, you're wrong, my opinion's more important than yours, or my perspective's more important than yours, or what you're doing is wrong, then you are engaging in the perspective of duality, which is perpetuating the dualistic nature of this dimension or realm, if you will. And when we do that, when we participate in that through pushing our agendas, or even they even want us to think that when we are advocating a certain group or agenda, that we're actually doing it for the good, when it's really just perpetuating and solidifying the dualistic nature of this realm, where the whole goal is to ascend. And the way that we ascend is by first grasping and understanding the Law of One, and then living the Law of One. We cannot I guess that's what's the word? It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's not coming to me at this time. Anyway, lost my train of thought now when I was trying to concentrate on that particular word. But anyway, the whole point is to, and the way that we ascend, if you will, because ascension is really a frame of consciousness. And the way that we do that is, like I said before, by embracing and living the Law of One. And we have to abandon the whole perspective of duality, or the dualistic nature of this realm, to do that. And that's the reason why you're seeing so much force coming out to divide us and separate us even more, with different social justice pushes, or even dividing us by, I don't really pay attention to social media or engage in it, but I hear there's like a war basically between people who wear masks and people who don't wear masks, because all of this is one big agenda. Because the controllers, we'll call them the controllers because that's just an easier way to understand it, are really, really they know that they are losing their grasp. If they're trying to grasp onto sand falling through from between their fingertips or their fingers. And this is kind of their last ditch effort to do so. And so that's why you're starting to see all of this division really, really come out, and all of this frustration and anger and all of these things happening that are intended to cause more division, because the whole goal for them is to divide and conquer, because we're easier to control when we are not in alignment with unity consciousness. And so they want to maintain that control because they want to be at the top and in control of everybody else. And basically, the way that they see it is being the gods of this world. But there's nothing that they can do to stop it, because this wave of awakening, again, if you will, we'll call it awakening, that's happening is being caused by an energetic shift that's happening in the universe. I guess the easiest way to put it is look at it like there's this big energy cloud, and the Earth or even the galaxy is moving through that energy cloud, which is shifting the consciousness of humanity. And that's why you're seeing all of these people having these experiences and starting these YouTube channels like myself, and people that are significantly more recognized than me, that are doing the same thing that I'm doing, just on a grander scale, just because of what's happening, because of where we are at. And that is in perfect alignment with the Mayan prophecy of 2012. All that wasn't supposed to be the end of the world. That was just supposed to be the beginning of a new shift or a new age of humanity. And so that's kind of starting. We're still in the transition of that shift, and some people will call that the golden age. Some people will call it the age of Aquarius, or the millennium, whatever you want to refer to it as. It's just a label for people to understand that we're going to be in a higher state of consciousness. So yeah, so that's what the whole 2012 prophecy was just them talking about the shit. But it wasn't just prophesied by the Mayans. You can look in almost all of the esoteric ancient teachings. You can look in almost all of the world religions, prophecies. They all talk about the same things and just have different ways of referring to it. But anyway, to move into that new state of consciousness, or that higher level of consciousness, or ascension, if you will, we have to live the law of one. And that's what I wanted to get on here and talk about, was just referencing the importance of what the law of one is, or Christ consciousness is, or unity consciousness, all just different names for the same thing, and help people understand that the only way to ascend is to start to understand that and then live that concept. Now, in terms of a big part of the law of one is also understanding what karma is, because you hear all the time people referencing good karma, bad karma. There is no good or bad karma. Karma is just energy. It's just karma. It's a type of energy that we acquire when, the way that I see it, so let me break down my understanding and the way that I live my life. What most people would call sin, I really think there's only one sin, and I don't even like that term because of what it associates with. But the only sin, if you will, is to violate the free will of another. And when you do that, that just means that you are collecting karma. You're gathering karmic energy into your entity that will have to be released in order for you to progress and to move forward. So karma is just an energy that we are either acquiring or releasing. Now, the way that we release karma is, the most powerful way to release karma is through forgiveness. So when someone violates our free will, we have to utilize the understanding of the law of one, realize that that is just another one of ourselves who is just a little bit more confused than we are, and so they are violating us by violating our most sacred possession, if you will, which is our free will. And so when that is violated, we have to understand that they're just at a lower understanding or lower state of consciousness than ourselves, and then forgive them through meditation, where you assess certain events of things that had been done to you, where you can basically be in that same state and then forgive the aggressor and have that karma released. And then, of course, going into states where you heal yourself also through meditation, where times when you have violated the free will of others, and then forgiving yourself for that violation. So those are the key ways, like I said, through forgiveness, whether you're forgiving others or forgiving yourself. Those are the ways that we release karma and start working on our own personal ascension into the these are, I use the quotation fingers all the time because these are just ways to reference. They're labels that we use to reference, you know, what is coming and what we are moving into. But anyway, I hope this was helpful for you guys. I know that I was a little bit everywhere in this because literally you're talking about the most elaborate thing there is in the universe, because that's essentially what the universe is just the law of one, just us, just that one conscious being that is us, that we are all just fractals of, incarnating so that we can understand ourselves fully. And anyway, back to, you know, just to kind of summarize everything, we don't want to participate in things that are going to perpetuate duality, which is anything that is divisive. Unless, well, it just depends, because there's you can walk the positive path, which is service to others, or you can walk the negative path, which is service to self, the source, because whether I'm serving me or I'm serving others, I'm serving source, because everything is source.